Yes, people. Welcome back to another stream. You got myself and Joe here, the HMTV boys, going to do a bit of a review on City Brentford 1-0. Jesus, that was a tough watch. That was a really tough watch. Do us a massive favor before we get into it and have a chat about it all. Hit the like on the stream, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and let's break it down, man. It was a really tough watch. I don't know. Am I getting the sense something is wrong? Is something off? Are the players tired? Is it anything? Could anything be wrong? Because tonight's performance, Joe, was quite disheartening. Like when you think about it, we won 1-0, and that's great. The 3 points is always most important, but it was a lucky goal. It was somewhat of a gift because Christopher Ayer couldn't stay on his feet. Haaland gets through and goal, tucks it away nicely. But I mean, where do we even start, mate?
Yeah, I mean, where do we start? Do we talk about maybe some individual performances, Pep's team selection, the tactical setup, just the lack of anything really? Like, apart from that chance that we had the Haaland scored that was lucky, we had the Kyle Walker header across, which was offside for 2-0. Apart from that, Bernardo Silva had a header in the first half, I think. Was that about it? Like Oscar Bobb had one nearly off the line. Like, there wasn't a lot going, was there? Like, credit to Brentford. Like, their game plan was the same as it was a few weeks ago when we played them, which is they had 10 men behind the ball and just, tried to smash us on the counter-attack with long balls. But, like, it was a bad watch. I don't know where to start. I don't know where I want to start. There are so many things. And it's like, it's not even new things either. Like, they're things that I would say have been consistent. I think when you look at the Chelsea game as well, similar issues. When you look at maybe the Everton game as well, I looked at that first half against Everton, and I think it was the same. I don't even know if he's here anymore. It might just be me.
Whoops. Sorry, people.
There's two of them.
Bit of a technical difficulty. Go on. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I just don't know where to start, to be honest, because I think it's we're saying the same things over and over again, aren't we? Like, I think against Everton the first half, against Chelsea the first half, similar issues as to today. Like, it's ongoing, and for me, there's something wrong. Like you said you didn't know whether there was something wrong. I think there's something wrong. Like, it just doesn't feel right.
It's just not fluid. It's not It doesn't look like Manchester City. Like tonight was a game where I was expecting like a big aggressive performance, an angry performance. It's like a don't worry, we get it. We're crap against Chelsea, but boom, we're back and we're going to show you that we've got that fight. And it just looked lackluster. It looked like we were frustrated really easily. We ran out of ideas really easily. It was slow. We weren't looking to hit them with pace when we got chances. I mean, look, it's one thing to be annoyed and frustrated about the way Brentford play. And I get that. It's not the most, aesthetically pleasing on the eye when you see a team like Brentford or Chelsea or whoever set up in a low block of, 10 men behind the ball or 11 men behind the ball, and then they hit you on the counter. But there were times where Brentford came forward a bit, and we didn't try to get in behind. We'd always wait for them to funnel back into the shape. And then what? And then what? Then we're passing it around aimlessly. We're giving away fouls. We're making mistakes. We're using the right-hand side. I mean, let's talk about that right-hand side because it's stunk to the high heavens. We have to be at a point now where Alvarez and Walker should be dropped. They need to be given a rest or a reset or something because they are a hindrance at this moment in time. Julian Alvarez in midfield is actually a hindrance. I don't know, is the guy just really tired? Is he burnt out from playing football? Is he frustrated with the area of the pitch he's playing in? He's simply not good enough right now. He's slowing us down. His decision-making is wrong at times. His instinct every time he gets the ball is to fire a shot. Doesn't matter where he is, what angle he's at. It's to fire a shot, and it ends up in row Z more often than not. Get him in the box when he's feeling fresh and good about himself, and he's probably going to be prolific again. But as of right now, it's just not working. It's just not working with Julian Alvarez.
It's madness. I like to use the phrase, what's the definition of insanity? Trying the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like it's bordering on insanity at this point, watching Julian Alvarez playing as number 10 and watching him, just consistently, flail about. Like his first touch isn't good enough. His final ball isn't good enough. He's not a midfielder. Like that's clearly obvious. And again, he might be tired because he's played every single Premier League match. He's made, every single appearance possible in the Premier League. That's unheard of for Pep Guardiola. We know what he's like with his, selection roulette, where he just basically looks like sometimes he picks names out of a hat. But the one constant is Julian Alvarez, and the one constant at the moment is Julian Alvarez playing in midfield, and it doesn't work. And that right-hand side today was absolutely atrocious. You had Alvarez and Walker. I described it as Dumb and Dumber. Like, it was so bad. It was comically bad. Kyle Walker couldn't beat the first man with a cross. You'd get Alvarez who'd either blast it into row Z or he'd give the ball away because he'd take a heavy touch. It's just bad. Like, it's just plain bad. And the scary thing for me with that is that Kyle Walker's the captain. He's not going to be dropped. Julian Alvarez is one of Pep's favourites. I don't see him being dropped either. Like, that's the thing. We're coming on here and saying that at least one of them needs to be out the team. Because, if something's clearly not working, you need to try some things. But I'm sat here, saying to myself, as much as I want it, I know it's not going to happen. I know come the weekend when we play Bournemouth, they'll be in the team. They'll be in the team. I know it.
I mean, look, Matt Jackson says we're off our heads here and telling us to calm down. We're not. We haven't lost our heads, but we're simply analysing an extremely uninspiring performance. It's not us here saying we're panicking. It's not us here saying we've lost any league or we're shitting ourselves about moving forward. No, we're talking about a very uninspiring weekend. An uninspiring performance against Chelsea, and then you get to tonight, and it was really lackluster, really uninspiring, no urgency, as Bevo says. We didn't look like we had any enthusiasm or aggression to really break them down. We were genuinely just relying, in my opinion, creativity-wise, off could Phil Foden make something happen. Could Rodri make something happen? Bernardo Silva's played a huge amount of football recently. He was even poor tonight. He was off his best. So it's not us sitting here saying, everything's an absolute shit show. It's just giving opinions on why things were poor. I think if we're being honest, it was poor tonight, Joe. It was poor.
Yeah, like I don't want to sit here and be a happy clapper. I don't want to sit here and act like everything's fine. Because to me, everything's not fine. It's like the be all and end all. It's just like if we don't win the league, so be it. It doesn't really bother me too much. Like I want it, But I'm not going to like be really upset and annoyed if we don't, because to be honest, I don't really care. Like, it's really not that deep. But if we're being real to the situation and not just looking at the team performance with rose tinted glasses and looking at it like everything's fine, or only 1 point off the top, it's been poor. Like, it just has been poor. Like, this run of games that we've been on recently, I count Everton, Chelsea, Brentford, those 3 Premier League games. Copenhagen was great. We got exactly what we wanted. That was a great performance. But the games around that, the Premier League games, Everton, Chelsea, and now Brentford, those 3 games were terrible. We didn't look like winning until, moments of individual brilliance. Haaland against Everton with the 2 goals. Chelsea, we didn't win, of course. Today, the mistake from Brentford, Haaland capitalises. Like, we're not winning games because we're playing well. We're kind of winning games because teams are, not punishing us, essentially. Look at Chelsea. Chelsea had chances on the break. They didn't punish us. We got a point.
Look, the 3 points is the main thing. I'd win absolutely every game 1-0. You know what I mean? You go on to win the league if you win every game 1-0. It's just more of a concern that this is an issue, it's an actual issue, and that this kind of form or this kind of performances gets carried into what March is a very nervy month. It's a month I'm very anxious about because of the amount of big games we have in there. So if we play like that against Liverpool or Arsenal, we'll probably get beaten. But look, you can look at it whatever way you want. We're looking at it the first way, which is that tonight was poor. It was an uninspiring performance. The second way is champions find a way to win. You know what I'm saying? We find a way to win. We grind it out. I thought the defense was solid. I thought out of possession, we were solid enough. We didn't concede too many chances. We didn't give Brentford too much space. We didn't give Ivan Toney really much to work with, which was kind of, if you nullify Ivan Toney, you're going to go a long way to nullifying Brentford. And we did that. I thought Roger is very good. It's just more the going forward, the attacking side of things. I do want to give credit to Oscar Bobb on his first Premier League start. I thought he was a breath of fresh air. I really did. I thought he was a breath of fresh air. I like the pace he plays at. I like his close control. I like his ideas. Sometimes when you just look at a player and you like the way they think about the game, and you like their approach to attacking the ball. He's happy to dribble. He's happy to go on the outside. He's happy to cut back. He seems like a really versatile and diverse-minded footballer, a diverse-minded winger who has a lot in his locker. A breath of fresh air, if you like. I think Oscar Bobb's got a massive, massive future ahead of him, and this was a nice little night for him to get his first game, Joe.
To be honest, I was very, very, I say very surprised I wasn't, because out of everybody to be taken off, it was very likely that it was going to be Oscar Bobb. But I can't lie, my head was hot when he came off, when I saw Oscar Bobb coming off and Alvarez staying on. To be honest, like, I thought Oscar Bobb was one of our more dangerous players going forward. Like, he had the shot cleared off the line. He was willing to take people on. He was, keeping hold of the ball retention as well. Like, he was doing everything. And that's not his natural side either. He doesn't really play off the left. He's more of a right-hand-sided player. And, I was very surprised when he came off because I thought he was playing well. But, I mean, we know what Pep's like with his young players. He likes to give them opportunities, but maybe not too long. He trusts his senior players, so... But it's a breath of fresh air. Pep clearly trusts him. When's the next time we're going to see him? I don't know. Maybe Luton in the Cup. I don't know whether he'd play against Bournemouth. But, I mean, I suppose it all comes down to this debate again where you look at Jeremy Doku. He didn't really take his chance against Chelsea. Oscar Bobb got his chance today. Like, I don't know really what's going on. I don't know what's going on with Doku. I don't know whether he's struggling after his injury, whether his confidence is just low. I don't really know. I really don't know, because he didn't take his chance against Chelsea and he just didn't get one today. Like, Oscar Bobb was given his opportunity, what I thought was going to be Doku's opportunity.
I think he took his opportunity, Oscar Bobb. I think he did pretty well everything he could. I mean, he was within an inch of scoring a goal, and that was really smart play from Oscar Bobb to take, and great composure from such a young, inexperienced player to take that touch, send the defender to the shops, and you have to give the defender credit, the Brentford defender credit for that. If that was John Stones, you'd be saying, "Wow, that's unbelievable!" Like we have done before. So for Oscar Bobb, fair play to him. The chat's having a bit of a meltdown here over Kevin De Bruyne. We got some news here. Kevin De Bruyne has niggles in his hamstring, says Pep Guardiola, but he is okay. Pep says, I didn't want to take any risk with him. He's okay. It was more about prevention. He said he didn't feel comfortable, and the doctor said not to take the risk. Look, with hamstring injuries and with Kevin De Bruyne, I think it's something we're going to have to deal with for the rest of our time with Kevin De Bruyne. Hamstring is such a complex thing to injure. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna reoccur a lot. If you do it badly once, it's gonna reoccur a lot. It's just about preventing it and trying to slow it down, and keeping on top of it. So I think it was probably the smart move to not play Kevin De Bruyne tonight if he was feeling uncomfortable. My guess is he'll be fit for Bournemouth in the weekend. But back to tonight, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, Phil Foden I thought was quite good. I thought when he was moving into, when thingy went off, when what's his name went off, Oscar Bobb, yeah, Foden was kind of moving more into the middle, and he was hovering around almost like a proper number 10. What Alvarez probably should be doing in that role. What do you think of Phil Foden tonight?
He was in the middle of the park, which is something that I have wanted for so long. Like, I find it baffling how he scores a hat trick in this free roll against Brentford, and for the next 2-3 games, he's out touchline wide right. Like, I find that ridiculous. I'm not one to say that I know more than Pep Guardiola, but I still find that absolutely ridiculous that he was taken out of there. And he was put back in today, and he was central to everything. The amount of times he touched the ball, he came deep to receive the ball. He was everywhere again, and that is his best role. I don't know how you can look at, not even just put the hat-trick aside as well, I don't know how you can look at a guy who's playing the best football of his career to date and then take him out of there. I think it's ridiculous. That's one thing that has really wound me up, is Foden playing wide right. It should not happen.
Look, some people aren't happy with Foden, but you have to feel for Foden, how frustrating it must be for him. Like, as you say, he's playing some of the best football of his career over the last weeks and months, and he's still not able to nail down. Pep won't nail him down in a certain position. Like, why can't we just play him as a number 10 or a number 8 in the middle of the field? I mean, the midfield tonight of Bernardo, Rodri, and Alvarez, a Rodri, Bernardo, Foden midfield, I think would have been pretty interesting and pretty good to look at, but we didn't get it. LB 1998, it doesn't work. We are 1 point off top. Calm down. We're not panicking. It's just more about the performance. It's just more about the performance. Like, I'm trying to play devil's advocate and play both sides. I'm very happy that we got the 3 points. There was no calamities. There was no disasters. Nothing went tits up. Essentially, it was just more the fact that we were definitely lacking something a bit, Joe.
Yeah, like, I don't know how you can sit and watch the last 2 games back to back, this quick turnaround, Chelsea and Brentford, and we scored 2 goals. I'd love to know the total number of shots we had. Like, it's ridiculous to suggest that it does work, that it's, a successful formula that we've got right now is just wrong. It's just wrong. We didn't look like scoring today, and we didn't look like scoring against Chelsea. So to say that it does work is wrong. I mean, it's not like it's a complete failure, because we are second, but it's not working. Like, it's just not working.
I think it's just more you can just tell when you have seen a proper Manchester City performance and you haven't seen a proper Manchester City performance, based on the really high standards we've set over the years, and based on some of the very good performances we have seen this season, and some of the great performances we've seen in the last couple of months. We've not lost in 13 games now, and one of them being a draw. So we've won 12 out of 13. And some of those performances were absolutely excellent. Even though we conceded, I'm not too bothered about the conceding. It's more just about the going forward and the taking the game to the teams and looking like we're not running out of ideas. For you, if you throw Kevin De Bruyne into that team today, do you think you see a different performance, a fit and fresh and healthy Kevin De Bruyne?
It depends who for. Like, I genuinely think it depends who for. If you throw in Kevin De Bruyne for Julian Alvarez, 110%, we take control of that game. I think we create more than we do. We potentially score more than we do. And the scoreline looks better on us. But if you, say, throw in a Kevin De Bruyne for an Oscar Bobb, for example, and have Bernardo playing right and Foden playing left, then maybe not, because you still got Alvarez in the team. And I just think him in the number 10, he takes up positions that someone like a Phil Foden wants to take up, and like Kevin De Bruyne wants to take up. But he's just not effective in those positions, or he's not as effective in those positions. So to me, it depends who you put him in for. It probably would improve the way that we played just by having him in there, yes. So the easy answer is yes. But by how much it improves, it depends who you take out.
I agree. I mean, I think people need to understand that we're not going in on anything specific here or trying to cause any panic or anything. It's just simply trying to analyze it and give opinions in the game. I mean, Alec here says, "Big up Alec, man." He says it's okay to criticize, but some shit I've seen like Haaland crap Pep out is said by dickheads. The reason I'll never panic or be properly frustrated, like I'm not gonna lose sleep over what I saw tonight. I'm gonna sleep just calmly. You know, we took our 3 points. We move on to Bournemouth. You just hope for a slightly better performance. Um, like to go in on Haaland, I think is absolutely outrageous. Haaland, he doesn't look like himself right now, and there's definitely a multitude of reasons going into that, like the passing of his grandmother. That's a big thing for him. It's going to affect him and his family losing his grandmother, and then he's just back from injury, and he got his goal tonight. He took his goal really well. Absolutely fantastic finish. You just have to bear with it. You have to bear with it, and you have to trust the process, and you have to trust that Pep Guardiola and the players will click into gear and get out of this slump, if you could even call it a slump. For me, it's not a proper slump, even though some people online are acting like it is. I see some people complaining, properly unhappy with what they saw tonight, and acting as if we lost the game. We didn't lose the game. We won the game. It's more just talking about the performance, and I'm always open to talk about performance. I'm always open to talk about players and positions and tactics. That's what this platform is for. It's for people to give their opinions. Big up Bevo, man. He says, yes, lads. No sign of urgency. Very controlled performance, but needs to be better. Refs' decisions were shocking. Another game without Rodri yellow. Is he looking at a suspension?
Oh, he's been close for ages, but he hasn't picked up a yellow card in a while. So, like, the big fear for most people is that a few weeks ago, if he got like 2 yellow cards, then there was a chance he'd miss Anfield. But I think he'd be okay as long as he doesn't go mad with the yellows.
Okay. So Rodri needs to watch himself. That's kind of it, Bevo. When you see games where there's no sign of urgency, you're a bit like, okay, this is strange, because usually we play with such intensity. It's like we were lacking a bit of intensity. I think the defenders, credit to them. I thought Stones was quite good. I thought Diaz at times was quite good. And Akanji obviously got man of the match of Manchester City in the stadium anyway. I thought he was decent. I thought he wasn't bad at all. So it's more just the urgency going forward and running out of ideas, I suppose. Big up Darsh with the 12 months. 1 year, Darsh. Pep's use of Alvarez and Walker makes City look 10 down. Clinically, we are shocking at the moment. Accountability needs to be placed on the team. Only plus is Oscar Bobb. Like I say, I'm not a fan of Alvarez in the middle of the pitch right now. I'm a fan of Alvarez. I'm a fan of Julian Alvarez as a player. I'm a fan of him as a striker. I'm a fan of what he's going to become. It's just this specific role right now, I don't think it works in the system that Pep Guardiola is trying to play. I think it might be too congested for him. I think with the extra man stepping into midfield, wingers coming into midfield like Foden, like Grealish at times, like whoever, Doku was even moving centrally when he came on. It might congest for Alvarez too much in those kind of situations. He might thrive with more space. I don't know. But what we do know with Alvarez is he's clinical in the box, and he's not being given the chance to be in the box. Big up Rustin with the 39 months. Wow. What bothers me is that we do not have a player that feeds past a century like David Silva did. That makes our winger play so much more deadly. Well, Foden does do that. And I thought Foden at times tonight was trying to make that happen, but it's harder for Foden when he also has to be out in the wing. When Foden has to be a right winger as well as be in the middle and be creative in there, you're taking away from some of Foden's better attributes of his game. I think it's fair to say, Joe.
Yeah, not only that, like when it comes to feeding those type of passes, I mean, when he does move centrally, Walker overlaps, and I thought defensively he was okay, but of course his role today was more of a wing back. Like he was asked to be high and wide so Foden can take these central areas. And his crossing just didn't beat the first man. Like, it's hard for things like that to look effective. Like, passing to a wide player when he can't cross a ball. Like, it's very much feeds into the whole thing if something is wrong. Like, there's a few question marks going on here, but, like, Foden, again, like we keep saying, this central role, it needs to happen. He needs to be in the centre. Allowed this freedom, not in the right moving central, not from the left moving central, like an actual midfielder position.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Look, you just have to trust Pep. You just have to trust that everything's going to work out, and that we'll hopefully look back on tonight's win and say it was actually a really important win. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be negative, you can be negative if you want, and share your opinions once you're not just being a dickhead about it. But there are also positives. We won the game. You know what I'm saying? We got our 3 points, and it's one that I want to forget pretty quickly. Like I said, I'll sleep fine tonight, take the 3 points, and move on. It is what it is. Big up Rustin again with the 499. That's why the Kevin De Bruyne and Silva mid looked so fluid back then. Gundo had a bit of it in his game. Everything goes wide now, and we're too predictable. I have kind of spoke about predictability a bit over the past couple of weeks and months, saying that particularly when Doku's in the pitch, we're a bit predictable with Doku. It's like we're always trying to get it to Doku and hoping and putting too much responsibility on him to make things happen. I think it's just about balancing the team, Joe.
Yeah, maybe Doku needs a switch up of wing as well, because you talk about predictability. When he's on the left, I think a lot of the gripes with Doku at the moment is his lack of end product, like his decision making or his final ball being off. And I put some of that down just to the side that he's playing on, because he doesn't want to cut inside, because that area of the pitch is already congested. You've got Alvarez in there. You've got Rodri in there. One of the defenders is nobody in there, whether it's Stones or Kanji, whoever. You've got one of Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, or Phil Foden playing in there as well. That's 4 players, so he doesn't want to cut inside to this congested area of the pitch where he might lose the ball. And then when he goes on the outside, he has to use his left foot to cross, which he doesn't really want to do. So maybe he needs to switch up a wing. Maybe he needs a spell on the right.
Well, it's simple things like that, people, that can actually be extremely effective. Like, if it all just seems too predictable and obvious right now, it's small things. There's no disaster right now. We know we have the quality in this team. We know every single player in this squad is here because they're good enough. It's just about getting something right or tweaking something small. And who better to tweak something small and has proved they can tweak things at the right times than Pep Guardiola? Pep Guardiola, I said I'm going to sleep just fine tonight. Pep Guardiola's going to go home tonight, and he's going to think, why was it slow? Why were we running out of ideas? Why did it take for a mistake from a Brentford defender for us to win the game? Of course, he's buzzing to get 3 points, but this is what makes Pep as great as he is. This is what makes the best managers in the world the best managers in the world. He's always going to be thinking, how can I improve this? What can I do better? What do I want to do against Bournemouth on the weekend? You're going to see it. There's no point in us sitting here saying we're screwed, we're fucked, we're damned because tonight and Chelsea were poor. That's not going to get anybody anywhere. Pep Guardiola is thinking about how we can make things better, and you just have to trust he's going to get it right. And I believe he will. I still believe we'll win this league, people. We won tonight. There's absolutely nothing to be panic stations about. Big up Julian with the 17 months. I've noticed Pep chooses players on their work rate, and Alvarez tracks down, almost like when we had Milner. Alvarez is just having a poor spell. I think as an overall player, Alvarez, he's good. I love his work rate. I love his tenacity. I love his enthusiasm to score goals. It just has to be channeled in the right way and channeled in the right position as well, if that makes sense. And then Piplup here as well. Pep knows what he's doing. Should trust him. That's kind of the moral. I think people are, from what I've seen on Twitter, people are getting a bit carried away with the performance. But you kind of just have to accept it. It's 3 points and move on. I'm fairly confident we'll see a totally different City again against Bournemouth.
I mean, that's the hope, isn't it? We just kind of, end of the season, we just kind of forget games like this. You know, we look at it for 3 points, but forget the performance. Like, at the end of the day, there's nothing to really stress too much about, because 3 points is 3 points, like you said, and that's what we're going for. But again, like, just the way you analyse the game, I always analyse the game in the little details. I like to look at the little things, and it is the little things that I think we're getting wrong, and sometimes the little things make a big difference. Like, the balance of the team, I think today was and Chelsea, you know, the polar opposite. Against Chelsea, we kept going down the left, which was Doku, and asking Doku to do too much, and it didn't work. Today, we went a lot down the right because, you know, Phil Foden was, you know, main creator, and he started off on paper on the right, and then you had Walker going down that side, and Alvarez was down that side sometimes, and it's almost, again, like you said, too predictable. Like, just small little tweaks sometimes can make a big difference, and that's all it takes. Maybe Pep's figuring stuff out. But hopefully that we'll see something different. Like, I remember saying recently that, you know, Akanji in that John Stones role when John Stones was on the bench against Chelsea was ridiculous. He didn't try that today.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, you can look at all these games whatever way you want, but if you look at the Brentford and the Chelsea game, we could have won the Chelsea game 4-1. I mean, if Haaland had hit the back of the net with two of those headers, three of those headers, all of a sudden we win the game 4-1 and we're coming away from it going, wow, we blew them away. Haaland had one or two chances tonight as well that he could have buried and we could have won the game 2-3-4-1, and we're coming away from this game going, wow, we absolutely blew them away. So as I say, there's no there's no massive point where you're going, this has to change or something has to improve or Pep has a real problem in his hands. It's really fine margins that is separating these games from being a bit underwhelming to great. We did our job. We got our goals. Haaland was clinical. Haaland could have been the difference between these games being scintillating and slightly underwhelming. Haaland will find his feet again. Haaland he'll get out of this period he's in. He'll get his match fitness back. One of these games, hopefully against Bournemouth, Haaland's going to hit someone for 3, 4, or 5. He is. It's the kind of player he is. He's too good to stay in this kind of form, and he's still the top scorer in the league. And we're going to go, yeah, this is more like it. This is more like Manchester City. And when Haaland starts hitting the back of the net, consistently, and he's feeling good about himself, the rest of the team are going to start feeling good about themselves as well. It's these small things, Joe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think if Haaland has a great performance against Bournemouth this weekend and he hits them for 2 or 3, we're going to go into March going, yes, Haaland's feeling good about himself. De Bruyne is hopefully over this little problem he has, and he's feeling good about himself. And all of a sudden, the mood's changed. And there's no disaster. We're only 1 point behind, and we have to play all the teams.
Yeah, like, I think we spoke about it on the stream recently where we were talking about De Bruyne potentially getting the most assists in the division, even though he missed half a season. Like, a lot of stuff on our season depends on Haaland clicking, because he's a player that you can't drop because he's a match winner. He doesn't really do... The thing he gets hit with the most is he doesn't really do too much. Like, he doesn't get involved in the build-up play, because that's not his strength. He's told to sit on the last line of defence, get in the penalty area, make himself a nuisance in the box, drag 2-3 defenders towards him, create some space. But his finishing this season, maybe it's just because he had that absolutely bonkers season last season, where it's impossible for him to replicate that. Like, that shouldn't be the standard, because that's like an anomaly. There's something like that will never happen again. So to hold him to that standard, I think, is wrong. But he could still score bag loads of goals, and he knows he can be better at finishing. He knows he's missed chances. It wasn't even just Chelsea. Before he got injured, he missed a few chances as well. Like, I think you sent a video to me on Twitter of a compilation of his missed chances so far this season. Like, he knows he can be better. And we're still winning games, even with him missing chances, even with other players looking and missing chances. Look at Foden's chance today, where he tries to go around the keeper. Bernardo Silva's header. Like, it's things like that where all it takes is certain things to click, and then scorelines become much more in our favour, and nobody's having a meltdown.
When you have a player like Erling Haaland, you are relying somewhat on him being on form, because he's that kind of player. When you put him in the team, you know he's not going to be doing what Harry Kane does and dropping deep and trying to spray around for assists and pass out to the wings. You're putting him out there because you're hoping and you're kind of relying on him being clinical and being in form. And look, he's human. Right now, he's not particularly in form, but he still scored tonight. I mean, he's on 17 goals in the league this season, and that was game week 25 for us. And he missed, what would you say, about 4 to 6 games in the league through injury. So when you actually look at the numbers, he's averaging in or around a goal a game. So you're talking about a player who is out of form. He doesn't look like himself. He's frustrated. He's lost a grandparent. Times are a bit tough for Erling Haaland. Probably the toughest he's had. Definitely the toughest he's had since he arrived at Manchester City, but still averaging a goal a game. So what's going to happen, hopefully in March, hopefully this Saturday, when Erling Haaland gets a bit of confidence back, starts feeling good about himself? I think we've got a lot to be optimistic about. Piplup, show some love to Akanji. Man of the match, also dropped Doku. I thought Akanji was good. I really did. I thought Akanji was good. I thought he was poor against Chelsea, but tonight he came back. And this is what makes great teams, people. We're resilient. Some of these players, they'll have poor games, they'll have poor periods, and you know they'll bounce back. You know they'll come good again. And with Doku, look, people are expecting too much of Doku. It's his first season at Manchester City. He's young. He's only 21 years old, and we're expecting him to set the world on fire. Riyad Mahrez, all these players, Jack Grealish in their first seasons, They all struggled. There's a lot to learn to play under Pep Guardiola. It's really complex being a winger for Pep Guardiola. So just have to wait and see. Listen, we don't play again, obviously, until Saturday. We got Bournemouth. I think it's a 5:30 kickoff. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing what tweaks Pep makes. I thought Kovacic was very good when he came on. He looked really enthusiastic. He looks like he wants to put up his hand and get involved for the run-in. He wants to show he can be a part of it and help us out. So there's a lot to be positive about. I think we're focusing sometimes a bit too much on the negatives. But it is what it is. We got the win tonight. I think we're going to wrap it up now in a second. I'm going to put a link in the chat, people. Myself and Joe go live a couple times a week on Joe's personal channel. He's currently 10 subscribers away from 7K. So the link is in the chat now to Joe's channel. If 10 of you would go and show love to Joe, he'll hit big 7K. I'm live with Joe again tomorrow at 10:30. We'll talk more about this game. We'll talk more about Brentford and everything else that's going on right now. So we just wanted to come on and have a bit of a review, a bit of a chat right now. Big up to Bevo, LB1998, Darsh, Rustin, and Piplup for your super chats and your member chats. Yeah, if you go over and hit that link in the chat right now and show some love to Joe, you can hopefully get to 7K tonight. That would be absolutely fantastic. And don't stress too much, Blues. Don't stress too much. We're in a good place. We're 1 point off top. We got to go to Anfield. I got a good feeling about Anfield this year. I'm not going to give any predictions, but I've got a good feeling. We got to play Arsenal. We got big games coming up. This is where you want to be. You want to be at this stage of the season, in the mix, in the pack, involved with the title run-in, and that's exactly where we are. So don't stress. Let's get involved. Anyways, good night and God bless, people. Look after yourselves.